This is information you're not going to get from anywhere else. I spoke directly to Bricc Baby and Luce Cannon about 30 minutes ago. I spoke directly to somebody who was in the courtroom who don't like Luce Cannon and Bricc Baby. So you're going to have the other side of that. And I also spoke to a courtroom reporter who was also there as well, who's unbiased. So we got the real, unfiltered, true story of exactly what took place today at Bricc Baby's court hearing and at Luce Cannon court hearing. On April 7th, Bricc Baby and Luce Cannon will call into the No Jumper show where they will tell the fans that they are coming home April 9th. That's because they had a bond hearing that Wednesday and they both anticipated being released. The reason that they were so confident about they were going to be home on April 9th, the Wednesday, was because both these dudes have put together pretty strong bond packages. Bricc Baby in particular, his mom put up a multi-million-dollar property. So they for sure thought, I mean, even if you give him $1 million bond, he gonna be home the same day. So they for sure thought the judge would have considered giving them bonds. It didn't turn out like that, bruh. All right, I'm not even gonna extend this or try to make you guys wait for the answer. They both were denied bond. They both got denied for similar reasons. Prior criminal history, they both have an extensive rap sheet, and their conduct ever since the investigation started. The court will point to them not being 100% confident that Bricc Baby or Luce Cannon won't interfere with the court process if they are able to go home and fight this case from home. They would also point to they believe that they're both a threat to society, right? Especially for Bricc Baby. They point to how Bricc Baby had a firearm on his hip live on No Jumper a day before his arrest. So they believe that if you weren't acting right while knowing there was an ongoing investigation a day before your arrest, then what makes us think that you will act right if we release you? So both got denied. Now, this don't stop them for reapplying for bond, but right now they were both denied by the judge. Now, Bricc Baby court hearing went without incident. He came, it was pretty smoothly. Luce Cannon, on the other hand, has some drama going on, and we're going to discuss it, okay? Now, because I want to give you guys both sides, all right, the pro Luce Cannon side and the anti Luce Cannon side, we're gonna do a dual video. So it's gonna be me and 600 essentially telling a similar story, but from different perspectives.
Whatever. Besides the point. He looked bad. He looked stressed out. Eddie Boy in the courtroom. Eddie Boy by himself. Luce Cannon come in his spot and look like Ghost. Like, man, what Eddie Boy doing here? Oh, cuz. Oh, neighborhood crib. Eddie Boy just sitting there. Ain't paying dude no mind. So they all the lawyers look over Eddie Boy like, what?
The guy on your right is Eddie Boy. Now, Eddie Boy is an OG from the 60s. He's a really reputable dude, solid dude with a lot of integrity, man. Eddie Boy still owes me boxing lessons, man. You feel me? We lost contact. I need to redeem my boxing lessons from Eddie Boy. But Eddie Boy was in court. Now, Eddie Boy and Luce Cannon don't necessarily get along. So when Luce Cannon got to court, that's when all hell broke loose. I'm not gonna cap because me and Luce Cannon is cool. I'm gonna tell you guys the truth. Luce Cannon got to court and Luce Cannon said, "Why is Eddie Boy here? I don't F with him on neighborhood crib in front of the people while still fighting Arica." This, listen, the one you can call Luce Cannon whatever you want, bro, but you cannot say that man ain't authentic. In the court of law, while fighting a gang indictment, a gang RICO, you walk in court and say, bro, why am I up here? I don't F with him on neighborhood crib. Oh my God. So that story is true. Now, when that happened, the officers of the courts, they got involved. And they told Luce Cannon, yo, he could be here as long as he's not disruptive. This is open to the public. So when enough people got involved, Luce Cannon thought it would be better to just remain quiet. So that's what he did.
It's only his wife. Well, I guess they're not technically married, but his girl, some other girl, she was with Eddie Boy. Nobody in the courtroom. So, now let's get into what's going on. The prosecutor is giving him his charges, previous crimes, why to deny his bail. Do you know what snitching he said in court? I didn't do those cases I went to jail for. My brother did those crimes. You snitching on your brother, snitching on your brother, you went to jail for him, bro. We're like, damn.
600 is telling a story from Eddie Boy's perspective. So this is what I've gathered from talking to all sides and all parties, including a courtroom reporter. So apparently, what took place was they were bringing up Loose Cannon's past charges, right? Past convictions, past charges, things that he was arrested for, and they were bringing this up to establish a life of crime and to establish why Loose Cannon don't deserve to be out of bond because he's a risk to society. So when they're bringing up charges, they brought up a bunch of charges, bro. I'm talking like damn near like 40 plus. And Loose Cannon is looking and he's like, I ain't go to jail for that. I ain't go to jail for that. I ain't go to jail for that. But that's not me. So what Loose Cannon figured out was some of the things that they were saying he got arrested for or went to jail for was actually his brother charges. So Loose Cannon and his brother are twins, born on the same day, damn near got the same exact name, it's just one letter off. Termaine and Germain. All right. So it's the same name, well, damn near the same name, like same birthday. So it's unclear how they made this error or the clerical error, but they just did like a soft pull and showed up with the crimes, with the past convictions. And Luce Cannon say, no, that's not my crimes, but like I didn't go to jail for that. My brother went to jail for that, not me. So now again, I'm not from the street, so I can't consider that snitching. Well, I listen, there's very few things that I consider snitching outside of black and white signed statement, I'm testifying. But that's why 600 is saying this is snitching. But Loose Cannon perspective is I'm in court for a bond hearing. You're trying to make an argument that I'm a menace to society. You can't make that argument bringing up cases that don't belong to me. So that's why Loose Cannon brought up his brother.
Then he say, Eddie boy in here trying to get some content. When he said that, the police came over to Eddie boy and asked him, is he recording? He sent the police on. He crashed out over there, man. He was mad. He was like, man, I wish I could record and told you what they doing, man. Oh, and they brought up the no jumper fight. He's in trouble.
Eddie Boy was escorted out of the court briefly. Now, from Loose Cannon perspective, he never said, hey, yo, Eddie Boy here for content. He's running content on me. No. Loose Cannon will say that his lawyer will make an observation. Rather, the observation was correct or incorrect. She made an observation. And in that observation, she believed that Eddie Boy was on his phone. So she took measures to try to protect Loose Cannon. And, she wrote like a letter, very discreetly and handed it over to the judge. And when the judge read it, the judge ordered the officer to walk Eddie Boy out to see if he was recording. Eddie Boy wasn't recording, so he was able to return back into the courtroom.
They use all that online stuff he been doing, bro. They using that. They don't want to let him out because he's saying he's an enforcer and what he'd do and talking about people's family. They also asked Eddie Boy, would Eddie Boy like to press charges on Loose Cannon for talking about his family? Eddie Boy said, no, I don't need to. Then they said he's lying, causing confusion about violence, lying about fights in the jail. And there was never no fight, which we knew that, but I wasn't going to speak on it because I didn't technically have the proof. But now when the prosecutors say it, you're lying, it was no fights. Now we can talk about it. So, Loose Cannon is just known to be a liar, bro. You feel me? He's not no rolling 60. Never was, never will be, right?
Loose Cannon and his wife would say this never happened, and they would say this is not true. Now, I can only let you guys know what I've heard. So I spoke to Loose Cannon. I spoke to others. Now, they didn't really tell me about that particular part. What they told me was that the fight that took place outside of No Jumper, that was brought up. And they brought up that particular thing because they believe that shows Loose Cannon's character. That shows Loose Cannon is a violent person. And the fight that I'm referring to is the fight with Jay Reed, where, we've seen Jay Reed get punched out, who Jay Reed came with get punched out. They were stripped butt naked to their, I'm talking about like butt naked, booty on concrete, got robbed. So they brought that up and they have everything on surveillance. And yeah, they might plan on charging him with that. Who knows? But they brought that up to prove that Luce Cannon should not be let back into society because he's a violent person. I didn't hear anything about them saying that Luce Cannon is lying about the jail fights. I didn't hear that. I'm being honest.
It was never no video of him FaceTiming Big. A lot of y'all heard of Luce, dude. That's the first time I ever met dude in my life when he said he had that. That's the first time I met dude. And he a year older than me. He never went to school with us. He ain't never played football with us. He ain't never been around with us, hung on the block. I've never seen dude before in my life. And I've been around him for all my life. I ain't been to the pen and been gone for years. I might have went to college for a semester, came back. But I've lived, all my addresses been in the 60s. I had one of them in Inglewood, but most of them, all nine of my addresses been in the 60s, bro. So, I don't know, dude. You know what I'm saying? And he's just known to be a liar. All that stuff he's saying, lying, bro. All that talking and doing, he's lying, bro. You know what's crazy? He lied and talked himself into an indictment. I guess one of those robbers that's in the indictment, somebody made a statement on him about the robbery. No footage, a long time ago, right? This dude went on there talking and corroborated a story, an incident that someone already told him about. So, dude, that's this. So let this be a message to somebody out here who's online. They're using all that stuff, bro.
If you've been paying attention, Luce Cannon and 600 was once on the same team. They were both team exposers. So this entire thing is surreal, and it really shows how fast life comes at you, right? Luce Cannon and 600 was just really cool. It took about 3 months, and now 600 is is calling Luce Cannon a liar and a capper. Life comes at you fast, bro. Yo, really slow, bro. Especially if you're in a life of crime and living fast, bro. Try your best to slow down, bro. Now, I can't speak towards what Luce Cannon is lying about or what he's not lying about or whether or not his war stories is true because I wasn't there. I'm not a gangbanger. I don't know nothing regarding gangbanging, okay? So I don't know. But when you look at what's going on, yo, all of Luce Cannon's enemies are from the 60s. That should tell you everything you need to know about gang culture. Gang culture isn't something you seek safe haven in. Gang culture isn't something that, you seek solace in. No, you're not going to find peace and comfortability in being in a gang, bro. All that comes out of gang banging, bro. There's 100% of things that come out of gang banging is negative. You are not going to find anything good. You're not getting anything good out of it. All it does is it affects your life and make it 100% more difficult, right? So when you look at these situations, don't just look at this as, this is not content. This is people's real life. And when you look at people's real life, you got to take a lesson from it, bro. Right? A gang that he gave his entire life to, allegedly, a gang that he committed and did things for, yo, members of that gang is going against you. You're not on good terms with everybody from that gang. Your homies who you sworn to brotherhood for life, they're going against you too. Now, again, whether or not they're right or wrong, or whether or not you did something first, still, this facade of there being a brotherhood is false, bro. It's false. You get involved, you're gonna get your life ruined. That's 100% fact. Y'all let me know in the comment section, man. What do you guys think about this, okay? Let me know. And if you're still watching, click on this video right here to find out why this Rolling 60 OG is claiming that Bricc Baby snitched after new paperwork surfaced. Click on this video right here to find out what I'm talking about. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.